If you want to know what this ship really looks like, well, this is more like it. We're going to speed through this one really quick. But oftentimes you end up finding yourself just out of the battle. You either have to run away because there's nobody on your flank, at like this game where there's basically nothing I can do. People push into me, bow in, and essentially nothing happens. And, you know, I'll just rely on my team here to win the game for me. As you can see, they all just kind of, you know, congregated up at the decap, doing not much for a while in this game, and then eventually we pull around and win it. But that intro is not what this ship is. This ship is not better than North Carolina. No way is it better than North Carolina. I mean, to be fair, North Carolina is the best Tech Tree Tier 8 battleship. I'd say the best battleship overall out of all the Tier 8s is probably Massachusetts. But this ship can get good salvos, like you saw, right? Like, it's got 12 guns. Sure, it's got pretty bad Sigma, I think at 1.5, and the dispersion's not amazing, and of course your reload takes forever. But, I mean, when these guns work, they do work, right? Like, this is a full health anchorage, and we nearly dev strike him, you know, and he gets killed off, right? Like, this ship's good, but it's not amazing. You know, you can be fairly certain that when somebody shows you broadside, at least at close range, like this Freddy, they're probably going to eat quite a bit of damage. I mean, I get a pretty lucky salvo here, as you can see, 30k damage, essentially. We hit 8 out of 12 shells. So, it's not all going to look like that, but it can be quite nice. It can be quite nice. So, I think an important thing as well to note is you should always be shooting DDs in battleships. That's just in general, but this ship is actually pretty good at it. You may not be the most accurate, but that actually helps with DDs. Shells spread around a little bit more, and you tend to get more reliable hits on DDs just because, you know, you aim in the general area and you're going to get hits, essentially. And you saw it helped us kill that Benson off with our team. So, here's the full match that I'm going to show you. This was my first game actually in this ship, and getting used to the lead and all that stuff. These shells are really slow. They're slow, they have not amazing pen, they're low damage, 11,800. It's only a couple hundred more than the Tirpitz and Bismarck with 380mm guns. This ship is... I think it gave up too much just to get 12 guns at tier 8. Sure, they overmatch, which, like you saw earlier, you know, you can overmatch Fusos and cruisers and all that stuff, which is super fun. But I don't know. I've been talking with some friends, and I've been thinking about this ship. And did it need a 40-second reload on top of all of the maneuverability nerfs and the armor nerfs over the North Carolina? Sure, you don't really have a citadel. Not really, unless you turn. Like, when you turn, you lift your citadel up and people can hit it for sure. But if you're just going in a straight line, probably not going to get citadeled. That's like the only better armor you have over North Carolina. The everything is 32mm here, so HE spammers just kill you outright. Here, as you can see, I would have had my guns reloaded if I had a 30-second reload. It was around 9 seconds when that Fiji got spotted, left on my 40-second reload. So I would have been loaded and shooting at that Fiji that's slowing down his smoke. So a missed opportunity there, just because we have a 40-second reload, right? It's a steep penalty to pay for 12 guns. It's kind of boring to play, for sure, because you can't push in, because if you push in, you're just hard committed. You can't get away. You have bad concealment. You have no speed, obviously, no maneuverability, and no armor. So you're forced to kind of play at this longer range sniping thing with 1.5 Sigma on 12 guns. Now, sometimes they come together. I mean, I'm still figuring out the aim this game. Like I said, it's my first one. But, I mean, if you can aim, you'll probably hit the target with a few shells at longer ranges. But it's not guaranteed. You do get some dev strikes. I think I played like 9 games in this ship yesterday, and I got 3 dev strikes that were in the intro there at the end. So, I mean, that's pretty solid, like, 3 dev strikes in 9 games. That's pretty good. And this ship is hilarious when you're fighting against tier 6s and 7s. It really is so fun. Just because you essentially overmatch everything. It's like you're, I don't know. I think this is going to be the most similar to how Vermont will play when you're a Kansas against tier 6s. Because Vermont is going to have the 30mm overmatch. They have Ohio guns, essentially. And you get 12 of them with a long reload and all the same kind of weaknesses. Except armor. Apparently the armor is not bad on Vermont. So I'm actually looking forward to that ship. Because Kansas is actually pretty fun to play into tier 6s. But that's not saying much. Every tier 8 battleship is fun to play into tier 6s. There's not a single one that's bad against tier 6. You know? So, that's not saying much in terms of what this ship can do. So, I would put this ship, if I had to rate it, I would put it as a solid average. It's not amazing, but it's not as bad as some people think either. It can do work. I think I'm averaging a little over 100k damage in this ship. And that's a function of having some pretty solid games like this one. I've had a couple games at around 150k damage. Nothing over that though. Nothing close to 200k yet in those 9 games. But I've also had those really, really bad games where I deal like 40k damage because either it's a stomp one way or the other where my team is just like steamrolling the enemy team and I can never catch up and deal damage, or everybody around me dies and, well, the ship left alone is not great. It's not good when it's alone. It needs spotting, it needs DDs. Like, I'm trying to push up here to support my DDs because, well, we need to kind of hang on to this middle cap because I'm assuming that some of their DDs are going to come in eventually and start fighting, and their cruisers and battleships are pretty well in good positions to support their DDs. So I want to be in a similar position. You can be pretty guaranteed on shots like this where you have overmatch. I mean, don't aim for waterline on ships like New Mexico. You just aim high and you're pretty much guaranteed to get good hits like that. I think the main problem with this ship is going to be positioning. This ship just hard punishes you for bad positioning. Whether you're too far away so you get no damage, or you're too close and you die. This ship is super punishing of bad positioning. And it's not the most rewarding of good positioning. You know, like, it's not an NC where you're reasonably sure that your guns are going to go where you aim. Now, sometimes they do, and this salvo was crazy. Like, that is insane dispersion. And if it was like that all the time, this ship would be OP. Right? So you can't make a 12-gun battleship have that dispersion every single time. But it's nice when it does happen. and I would like playing this ship if it had that dispersion all the time, of course, but I don't think it'd be fair. So I don't know, it's just, I think the speed and reload was too much. I think the dispersion's fine how it is. It's a little trolly, but not too bad because you have 12 guns. I think giving it a couple knots more speed, not necessarily North Carolina speed, but like put it to 25 knots or something like that, and then make it lose less speed when it turns, because as you can see, as soon as you turn, you're under 20 knots every single time. Every time you touch your rudder, you're under 20 knots, guaranteed. Which doesn't help. So, and I get that it's a big fat ship and it's going to take huge speed penalties as soon as you turn, but it's a video game. We need to make it a little bit more fun to play. And I think the reload could be like New Mexico as far as reload. Like, sure, you get lots of guns at your tier, but you have the same caliber as a lot of your peers, right? Like, New Mexico has the 356s that a lot of ships have at tier 6, but it has 12 of them, and it pays for that with bad maneuverability, bad armor, and it also gets a bad reload, kind of. It gets like a 34.5 second reload. But this ship is pretty much the same concept, where you have bad armor, bad maneuverability, but you get 12 of that tier's guns, which is 406s in this case. And they're actually nerfed versions. There you can see the AA. I mean, sure, it's a tier 6 carrier, but I found the AA to be actually really strong. Like, I did around 30k AA plane damage to a FDR, killing like 5 planes when he was striking at someone near me, and I'm in a tier 8, so I'm actually pretty excited for Vermont's AA. I think it'll be good. But back to the whole New Mexico argument, I think this ship is similar. It's like a tier 8 New Mexico, except instead of a 34.5 second reload, you get a 40-second reload. So I think having the reload around 35 seconds would make this ship fine. It wouldn't be amazing either. You know, I think 30 seconds might make it a little too broken, but in that 35-second range, I can see it being a pretty solid tier 8 ship. But it is fun to play, honestly. It's fun to get these dev strikes. It's fun to get these crazy hits on things. I don't know. I enjoy 12-gun battleships. Despite them having smaller calibers. Like, I like Montana. I like Kurfürst. I know they're not meta ships. They're not the best ships at their tier, but I enjoy 12 guns. So, I think that's kind of the Kansas. Did I say about AA? AA is good on this ship with defensive fire out. It's good. Not amazing, because no AA is amazing, but it's good. It's serviceable. So, this game, well, we end up losing, spoiler alert, and I actually don't do much more damage. I end up beaching here, because there was a download going on in the background, and that's why the game's been so stuttery. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a good day.